Hey everybody, it's Aaron from the Kubi Life. Check out my first reaction video. Today we're going to check out I Only Eat Meat and I Never Cheat by Jordan Peterson on the Carnivore Diet. Jordan Peterson was one of the people I heard first talking about the Carnivore Diet, and I was like, what? People are just eating that meat? That's crazy. That's crazy. And then I realized there was a lot, what had to do with it a lot was it was also an elimination diet, and he had struggled with a lot of depression, and I've struggled with depression, and there may be like autoimmune issues that people have or allergies that people have, and they don't even know it. So going on an elimination diet started just seeming like a good option for me, something to try. All right, let's check this out.
I am not a dietary expert, so I'm now
Right.
speaking as an uninformed citizen.
Are you still eating your all beef diet?
Unfortunately, yes.
Really, just beef? Not? Can you have like ketchup
No,
on it?
nothing.
Hey,
2
that's all
years ago,
sugar.
she said, "Dad, you have to try this diet because you have a lot of the same symptoms as me." No, I eat beef and salt and water. That's it. And I never cheat. Ever. Not even a little.
It's like that never cheat thing. I never cheat. I saw that on the tag up there, and it was reminding me of the book, The Carnivore Cure, where it's talking about everything in moderation. And the lady was saying it's better to abstain than to have the mindset of everything in moderation, for her at least. And for me, a lot of my life, and depending what it is, it's better for me to completely abstain from something, or instead of trying to do it in moderation. So you got to kind of know yourself and get to know yourself. And Jordan Peterson is here, at least at this point in his life, just eating meat, and he doesn't cheat, not even a little bit. Yeah.
bit. Disclaimer number 2. I am not recommending this to anyone.
One thing I've learned in the last 2 years is that I think I overestimated. There's an obesity epidemic in North America, perhaps throughout the Western world. I think I overestimated the degree to which that was a consequence of a sedentary lifestyle, and overestimated the degree to which a lack of discipline was contributing to it. I think much more now that it's an illness.
Well, those are two different things, though, aren't they? Discipline is self-control, and illness is something out of your control.
Well, let's say you're overweight, you should exercise. It's like, well, actually the evidence that exercise will thin you down isn't that great.
Yep.
And maybe the reason that you're not exercising is because you're ill, not
Yeah,
that you're ill
or
because you're
injury.
not exercising. So I have a lot more sympathy for the hypothesis that the obesity epidemic is actually a consequence of an illness, of a broad scale. Illness isn't exactly right. It's a dietary problem, fundamentally. And there are deep causes for that.
Are you
So a dietary problem. We have a problem with our diet. Talk about the standard American diet. There's just something wrong with our diets. Something's gone awry.
still eating your all beef diet?
Unfortunately, yes.
Really, just beef? Not? Can you have like ketchup
No,
on it?
Nothing. Yes, I wouldn't. It isn't something I would lightly recommend. It's a little hard on your social life. Makes traveling quite difficult, and it's dull as hell. But
But what has it done for you?
well, I lost 50 pounds in 7
Yeah.
months. I stopped snoring. I had some autoimmune conditions that seem to have gone away. I'm not taking antidepressants. My mood isn't perfectly regulated, but I'm under a fair bit of stress, so that might have something to do with it. I sleep much less. I can work more.
I imagine
I
your
don't have
arteries
GERDs.
might not be in
I
great shape.
I don't think there's any evidence that I don't think we have any idea what causes arteriosclerosis. I think all of the dietary knowledge we have is rubbish.
I have not seen this before. Complete rubbish. Yeah. I like how he's just, I don't want to say just sticking it to her, but he's challenging the status quo, or challenging what we think is a proper diet, or challenging the misnotion that eating meat is going to mess up your arteries and all that stuff. And He's just challenging it because there's no real evidence for it. No real evidence for it.
And partly because it's unbelievably difficult to do proper dietary studies. You can't do controlled studies, say. It's all correlational, and there's so many variables. I think the correlational studies are useless. Also, this all-meat diet, this all-beef diet has apparently cured my daughter. So,
You had juvenile rheumatoid arthritis?
Well, that was the original diagnosis, and it was idiopathic, which means we don't know what the hell's causing it. Yeah, but she's completely symptom-free. So that sort of thing makes you sit up and take notice because it doesn't make any sense.
When was the last time you lied? Because the book says no lying. Do you still lie?
Everybody lies.
As Dr. House himself told us. What is most
But
important?
I'm pretty damn careful about it.
What is most important to you in life?
Not being stupid.
How would you like?
Not making foolish mistakes. Not being incautious. Yeah.
That's tough on yourself.
You're on this carnivore diet
Yes.
now.
Okay, so
they're
I want to
switching.
preface that with something.
Switching over to Joe Rogan here. All right. I did see this.
I am not a dietary expert, so I'm now
Right.
speaking as an uninformed citizen.
You have done this for how long now?
I've been on a pure carnivore diet for about 2 months and a very, very low carb, greens only, modified carnivore diet for about a year.
So in the year,
And a low carb diet for 2 years.
so from the time that I've known you for what, 2.5 years now, something like
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
When I first met you, you had much more weight on your body.
Yeah.
You looked different.
Yeah.
And back then you were eating like the standard diet, right? Like normal people do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pasta,
Standard American diet.
bread, meat,
Yes.
chicken, whatever.
Yes.
Right? You shifted over to only meat and greens. I saw you and I'm like, you look fantastic. I'm like, what are you doing? And you're like, I changed my diet. I only eat meat and greens. And I was like,
Yeah.
wow, that's fascinating. Well, I felt like, okay, what you're doing is cutting out refined sugars and all these
Yeah.
different things that are problematic, preservatives, all the bullshit, processed foods, and you're having this extreme health benefit. And I was like, wow, that's really excellent. You're showing great discipline. Then you decided to take it to another place and cut out the greens.
Yeah, I know.
What
Yeah.
was the motivation for cutting out the greens?
Well, all of the motivation for this has been my experience with my daughter because she has an unbelievably serious autoimmune disease. I just talked to her this
what is
morning.
it called?
Well, it's arthritis, but there's way more to it than that. But the arthritis was the major set of symptoms. She had 40 affected joints, and she had to have her hip replaced and her ankle replaced when she was 15 and 16. And so
Yeah, I read Jordan Peterson's book, 12 Rules for Life, and he talked about his daughter and all the struggles that she went to. It's pretty crazy, and pretty sad, just thinking about your daughter in that much pain all the time. Wow, that's tough.
she basically hobbled around on 2 broken legs for 2 years in extreme agony. And that was just a tiny fraction of the whole set of problems. I just talked to her this morning. She's in Chicago. Looks like she has to have her ankle replacement replaced. So that's next on the horizon. But apart from that, she is doing so well now. It is absolutely beyond comprehension. So she's very trim. She had a baby, but she's very trim. She's down to about 118 pounds. She's about 5'6". She's just glowing.
I'm more
with
than
health.
double that.
All of her autoimmune symptoms are gone. All of them. And she was also seriously depressed, like severely depressed, way worse than you think. She couldn't stay awake for more than about 6 hours without taking Ritalin. And she was dying. And I had a cousin, my cousin's daughter, she died when she was 30 from an associated autoimmune condition. So there's a fair bit of this in our family. It was bloody bleak, I'll tell you. And my wife always had a suspicion that this was dietary related. And
Why?
Well, we did notice that when Michaela was young, if she ate oranges or strawberries, that she'd get a rash.
Yeah,
Like
my
there
kids do that.
And then when she developed arthritis,
Some
if
of
she
my
ate
kids have
oranges
got
in particular, that would
rashes
definitely cause
if
a
they ate too
flare.
many
It was the only
fruit.
thing we could see.
Strawberries.
The problem is that in order to identify a dietary component, the response has to be pretty quick after you eat the thing. Like if it's 2 days later, how the hell are you going to figure that out?
Right.
A lot of these responses appear to be delayed for 4 days
Wow.
and last a month. So good luck figuring that out. Anyways, Michaela noticed about 3 years ago, no more than that now, 5 years ago, she was at Concordia University and struggling with her illness and all the associated problems. She noticed that around exam time, she was starting to develop real skin problems. And she thought, oh, it must be stress. And then she thought, wait a second, I really changed my diet. When I'm studying, all I do is eat bagels. All I do is eat bread and sandwiches. She thought, maybe it's
the bread.
So she cut out gluten first. And it had a remarkable effect, like a really remarkable effect. And then she went on a radical elimination diet all the way down to nothing but chicken and broccoli. And then her symptoms started to drop off one by one. Like,
Okay.
And like one of the things that happened is she started to wake up in the morning. She started to be able to stay awake all day. And when you're only staying awake for 6 hours with Ritalin, staying awake all day, that's like having a life.
It's like complete life change. Complete life change. Become a different person. I mean, that's compelling.
And so a whole bunch of things improved. Then her depression went away. And I've had depression since I was 13 probably, and very severe. And I've treated it a variety of ways, some of them quite successfully. But it's been a constant battle. And my
Same.
father had it, and his father had it. And it's all just rife in my family. And my wife has autoimmune problems in her.
When you say depression, define it.
How would you define it?
Because that's a blanket term.
Yeah. Well, imagine that you wake up and that you remember that all your family was killed in a horrible accident yesterday.
You would feel that even
All
if
the
nothing
time.
was wrong.
Yes.
Just
It's
dread.
actually worse than that. Because,
Really?
well, one of the things Michaela told me was she thought, well, what's it like to be depressed? Well, imagine you have a dog and you really love the dog, and then the dog dies. And then about 3 years ago, our dog died. And that was Michaela's dog, and she really liked that dog. And she said, that was bad, but it's nowhere near as bad as being depressed. And I asked her, too, at one point when she was about 15 or 16, I said, look, you've got a choice, kid. Here's the choice. You can either have depression or arthritis. Which one? I'll take the arthritis.
Wow.
And that was after she'd lost 2 joints. So it was no joke.
Wow.
It's no.
Yeah, depression is no joke. I've struggled with depression, and man, one of the things for me is like when there's nothing to be depressed about, and you're depressed anyways, and you don't know why, and you know there's no reason for it, it makes it even worse. Yeah, I just had to, personally, I was just like, this diet has helped, but I really just had to give up control and realize it was okay not to be okay. Yeah, it was okay to not be okay, and hope tomorrow's better.
No joke, man. There isn't anything. No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say there's nothing worse, because worse is a very deep hole.
Right.
But it's bad.
Yeah, people will prove you wrong, right?
Oh yes, definitely. Worse
Yeah.
Worse is a deep hole. Anyways, her depression went away. All these symptoms went away, and like radically.
So what changed her from chicken and broccoli to carnivore?
Well, she kept experimenting, and she
Well,
got very
lion
sensitive to all
diet.
sorts of foods in the aftermath of that too. So this is why I wouldn't recommend that anybody does this casually, because we don't understand much about it. But she started to add things back and take them away, and sometimes when she added things, the results were devastating. She was like done for a month. She ate the wrong thing,
a whole
done for a
month?
month.
A whole
All the symptoms
month.
came back, the depression came back. She thought that her whole dietary theory was wrong because it lasted so long and was so extreme. And like it took her 2 years to figure out that really what she could eat was beef and greens, and then she figured out that she could only eat beef.
So
And
the greens themselves.
Well, look, so what happened? Okay, so 2 years ago she said, Dad, you have to try this diet because you have a lot of the same symptoms as me. Now, I didn't have arthritis, but I had a lot of the other symptoms. And I thought, oh, Christ, okay, Michaela, I can try anything for a month. She said, try it for a month.
Try it for a month.
Whatever, I can hang by my
30
fingernails
days.
from the windowsill for a month. It's like, it's just not that big a deal. And so I went on a really low carb diet. Okay, so this is what happened. I had gastric reflux disorder, and I was snoring quite a lot. I stopped snoring the first week. I thought, what the hell? That's supposed to be associated with weight loss. Because I had gained some weight. I weighed about 212 pounds, and I'm about 6'1½", so that was my maximum weight. I stopped snoring, which was a great relief to Tammy. I just quit, and that's a big deal, right? Because if you snore, you have sleep apnea, and then you don't sleep right, and it's like not a good
Yeah.
thing. Okay, next. I started waking
Snowball.
up in the mornings. I'd never been able to wake up in the mornings my whole life. I always had to stumble to the shower, and then maybe I could wake up. It took me an hour, and I felt
Wow.
terrible. And so all of a sudden I woke up, and I was like, oh, look at that. I'm awake in the morning, and I'm clear-headed, and things aren't gloomy and horrible. It's like, well, isn't that weird? Then I lost 7 pounds the first month. I thought, 7 pounds, that's a lot in a month. And I'd already gone for a whole year on a sugar-free diet, and I didn't lose any weight. And I'd been exercising.
Sugar-free, but did you cut out bread and
No,
gluten?
no, it was just no desserts, no sugar, no. And I thought that might do it. Didn't make any difference at all. 7 pounds. Well, then
7
I
pounds in
lost
that
7 pounds
month.
the next month.
Good job.
Then I lost 7 pounds the
14.
next month. I lost 7 pounds every month for 7 months. It's like I'd throw away all my
Wow.
clothes. I went back to the same weight that I was when I was 26. And my psoriasis disappeared. And I had floaters in my right eye, and they cleared up. And then the last thing that went away for me, I was still having a bitch of a time with mood regulation, and that sucked because when I changed my diet, I didn't respond to antidepressants properly anymore. They weren't working. And so although I was getting better physically in a variety of ways, like radical ways, I was really having a bitch of a time regulating my mood, and I was having sporadic, really negative
Yeah, a little bit of language, but hey,
reactions to food when I ate something I shouldn't. So that took about a year and a half to
serious
clear up.
stuff.
I was still really anxious in the morning up to 3 months ago, like horribly, and then it would get better all day. People said, well, you're under a lot of stress. And I thought, yeah, I've been under a lot of stress for like 10 years. It's a lot, but it wasn't any more stressful than helping my daughter deal with her illness, that's for sure. That, no, this is something different. And she said to me, quit eating greens. And I thought, oh, really? Jesus, Michaela, I'm eating cucumbers, lettuce, broccoli, and chicken and beef. It's like I have to cut out the goddamn greens? Try it for a month. Okay, within a week, I was 25% less anxious in the morning. Within 2 weeks, 75%, and I've been better every single day. I'm better now, probably, than I've ever been in my life, and I haven't been taking antidepressants for a whole year. So, I don't know what, and I weigh 162 pounds. Like, I have no, and I've actually gained musculature. I've been doing some working out, but not a lot. And so, I can sleep 6 hours a night, no problem. I wake up in the morning, I'm awake. If I take a 15-minute nap, that used to take me an hour to recover from, that's gone. Here's the coolest thing. I've had gum disease since I was 25.
Yeah.
That's been serious enough to have, I've had to have minor surgical interventions, scraping, and
Help
that
your
sort of
teeth.
thing to keep it at bay. It's gone. I checked with my dentist before this last tour. No inflammation. And that's associated with heart disease, by the way, gum inflammation and gingivitis. It's a good risk factor for heart disease. It means the systemic inflammation is gone. And it's not supposed to happen. You're not supposed to recover from gingivitis. And my gums are in perfect shape.
I mean, I had this exact same thing happen to me. You know, part of it was eating the meat, you get stuck in your teeth and you'd want to floss more regularly, but the inflammation came way down, and my dentist was like, oh, wow, your gums are looking good. Like, yes.
It's like,
When?
what the hell? So here's what happened. I lost 50 pounds. It's like, that's a lot, right?
Yeah, I've been doing this a little over 6 months, and I'm down 50 pounds from the heaviest weight that I've seen. So yeah, it's made a big difference in my life.
I'm nowhere near as hungry as I used to be. My appetite's probably fallen by 70%. I don't get blood sugar dysregulation problems. I need way less sleep. I get up in the morning and I'm fine. I'm not anxious. I'm not depressed. I don't have psoriasis. My legs were numb on the sides. That's gone. I'm certainly intellectually at my best at the moment, which is a great relief, especially doing this tour. Depression is gone. I'm stronger. I can swim better. And my gum disease is gone. It's like, what the hell? No, I eat beef and salt and water. That's it. And I never cheat.
I never
ever.
cheat,
Not even
ever.
a little bit.
No
Nothing.
soda, no wine.
I drink club soda. Disclaimer number 2. I am not recommending this to anyone. And if you haven't yet done so and you feel like doing it, hit the subscribe button.
That's funny. He's like, yeah, I never cheat, and I don't recommend it to anyone. I do not recommend this to anyone. Yeah. So, tell me what your experience on carnivore diet has been, if that's something that you have done, or tell me why you think this might be something good for you. Is there something you're struggling with, or something struck a chord in this video that made you think, hey, maybe I should try this for 30 days. Just see what happens. Just to see if I have some kind of inflammation problems or autoimmune problems that might be caused by the food that I'm eating in a bad diet, like a standard American diet.